Today's a new kind of video. I call this video Legacy of the Warrior, and in this video we're not going to be talking about pirate warriors. We're going to be talking about the control warrior. When this game first came out, I didn't really know what to do. I was still learning. I was free to play. I had hardly any legendaries, no skill, no idea what the fuck was going on. I really don't even remember what deck I played until Naxxramas came out. Just a bunch of garbage, you know? Just a bunch of starter vanilla garbage that you get, and anytime you played against somebody that had a legendary card, it was like, oh, holy fuck, how did he get that? Wow! You know, I think the first legendary I think I ever got was Ragnaros, which is pretty lucky, because it's a great legendary. So I had like Ragnaros, and maybe two more legendaries by the time Naxxramas came out. In vanilla, the warrior wasn't really a class that anybody played too much. When Naxxramas came out, I was hopping on the Death Rattle Hunter train. It's the first time I got low down the ranks. I got to like rank 2 or something like that with a hunter using Undertakers. And it was cool to be successful, but I wasn't really having a great time because the deck was just really aggro, and I knew that's like when I understood that aggro is shit, and it's for fucking idiots, and it's not fun to play. And sure, it'll net you some wins, but it's just like, unless you're going pro with this game, you might as well just play a deck that isn't fucking lame as fuck, right? So I'm playing it, and the first time I ever encountered a control warrior, some warrior I went up against, he'd already had his golden warrior, and that's like really quick to have golden warrior. This guy must have been just slamming game after game. But the whole beginning of the game was pretty slow, and I was kind of confused to what I was up against. But then, you know, turn 7 comes out, and here comes Baron Geddon. It was like the first time I seen this legendary played. And then Ragnaros, and Alexstrasza, and Grom, and Sylvanas, and they just kept coming. I was like, holy shit, this is an expensive deck. This is a really crazy deck, and he crushed the shit out of me. And I was just amazed, and from then on, my mission was to make a control warrior. So I sold all my crappy cards that I didn't want, and contemplated some of the epics, this, that, and other thing, and saved my dust for a couple weeks. Spent probably 10-20 bucks on packs, and eventually I made my first control warrior. And the Naxxramas control warrior was pretty fucking killer. You had Death Spite, you had Sludge Belcher, you had Death Lord if you were ballsy enough to use it or play it correctly. You still had Brawl and everything. I'm not sure if Shield Maiden, I think Shield Maiden did come in Naxxramas. So with the addition of those cards, Control Warrior was born, and that was the first expansion you could play a Control Warrior. And a Control Warrior was tier 1. It was an awesome deck. It was just an awesome experience to have a mirror match with another Control Warrior, because that's when you really find out who the better Hearthstone player is. Then Blackrock Mountain came out, and things changed for the warrior image quite a bit. That's when Patrons were introduced, and Patron Warrior really kind of sullied the warrior name. But if you were a skilled enough control warrior, you can take the new tool Revenge also, which is just a better whirlwind. You're low on 12 health or less. You can use one Revenge to clear all those patrons out of there. And they used to say at that time that Patron Warrior had a heavy advantage on Control Warrior. I disagree. I crushed Patron Warriors, and I don't like to sniff my own ass, but I think I was a pretty damn good Control Warrior player. It was the first deck I got to 500 wins. I currently have somewhere in the ballpark of 1,400 Warrior wins. And then it got even better. TGT comes out. Justicar Trueheart. Justicar Trueheart. Amazing card. Amazing card. And you get 4 armor every time you hero power. And it was still, the game was still slow enough. The aggro wasn't so insane at that point. And N'Zoth wasn't around yet, so control decks couldn't really keep up with you. The only rival there was to a control warrior in the control scene was Handlock, and that was a great game. That's what Hearthstone was always about. For me, it was a really just an amazing game of control warrior versus Handlock. Just two people who know exactly how to play their decks, just duking it out, and there's a 50-50 chance to win. That being said, once League of Explorers came out, Reno decks kind of took the spotlight. It was pretty hard to beat a Reno deck as a control warrior. You just kind of ran out of steam. You had to try new things. You had to try cold lighting the shit out of your warlock opponent. Sometimes I would do 2 cold lights plus Bran, and I would do the Iron Juggernaut. And it kind of was more of a fun joke deck. It felt like warriors started to lose their power a bit at that point. And then finally, what really put the nail in the coffin, I think, for control warriors was when the Old Gods came out. Because N'Zoth is just very strong, so a control deck like a Paladin or anything else that utilizes lots of death rattles and has lots of removal or something like that. It was just you try the same thing with the control warrior, and not as good. There was just a little bit too many monsters, a little bit too much going on for you to control everything. It was out of your control. So you had to resort to doing a Cthulhu-style control warrior, which was fun, but not as fun as the original. And I think that's about where control warrior stopped being as effective. It dropped down to tier 2, then tier 3, and now it's at the point where control warrior is almost non-existent. You weren't able to keep up with a mid-range shaman once Karazhan came out. Mean Streets Gadgetzan, a Jade anything, Jade Druid especially, completely dominates control warrior. So control warrior is pretty much retired. But the reason why I want to make this video is because there's some hope at the there's some light at the end of the tunnel for the control warrior with this new expansion coming up. Hopefully, I'm optimistic every time an expansion comes out and I see a couple new warrior cards. I hate Pirate Warrior. I hate Pirate Warrior not only because it's ridiculously overpowered, and the power level of that deck should be just lowered a lot, and it just doesn't seem to happen. Like, all the minions should probably have 2 health, 3 health tops if it's going to be that fast and that powerful. Small board clear should be able to help you out there, but it doesn't really seem to be like that. A lot of the pirates have 3-4 health. And the Frothing Berserker is an insanely difficult card to deal with. It's the 4 health. If it had 3 health, it'd be so much less stressful. But the deck is just it completely took the warrior spotlight, and that's not what Warrior was about. Warrior was about being a big badass with a giant shield and slaying big minions and just fighting through the pain and finally winning the game after all 30 games were played out of each deck. And Pirate Warrior is a fucking joke. So, in today's video, we're going to go ahead and play a version of Control Warrior that was my basic deck around the TGT time with Justicar Trueheart. And it was probably my favorite time to play Hearthstone. So, we're probably going to get crushed. Maybe not. Maybe we'll find a sweet control game and relive some old Control Warrior days. But, anyways, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you have a favorite deck that's been punished by some new meta and you want to talk about it, leave some comments below.
Garrosh versus Garrosh. Victory or death. Bring it on.
Could this actually be another Control Warrior? Nope. course not. It's gay warrior. It's fucking disappointing. Yeah.